Hey listeners, we're gonna play back a really old episode. I think it's an interesting one. I think it's a really nice conversation between Adam, Jason, and me talking about content creation. And I think you guys gonna like it. Alright, enjoy.
You need that YouTuber, actually, Adam will probably know how to do this better because he's addicted to YouTube. But yeah, you can get him to be like, "What is up? It is Rojak Nation."
Good morning, beautiful people of the world. Welcome to the Rojak Tech Podcast. Today we have Jason as a guest again. Hello, Jason.
Hello. Thank you for having me again.
When I listened to the last episode, I really enjoyed the dynamic that the three of us had. So afterwards, I was talking to Morgan about it, and I was like, "Hey, can we get Jason on again?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then, yep, here you are, Jason.
My rise to stardom. How this is the turning point.
Yeah, this is a turning point to something bigger, right, Morgan?
Yeah, but can I say that I'm quite surprised that actually it's quite well received our last podcast because
Well received.
no, I mean like
I got some very strong messages about some opinions that I had. But go ahead.
Hey man, drama leads to more viewership. Controversy leads to more viewership. But why? But what makes you say so, Morgan? Do you have the stats or something?
no, just that usually long episodes, right? Because our last podcast was an hour, so although we cut it from 2 hours to 1 hour, it's a big how to say, we cut a lot of stuff out. But I'm surprised that a lot of people actually find it entertaining, although the format's kind of long. Yeah, that's one of the few things that surprises me, that people actually finished listening the whole thing. And I do think that three of us over here do have something going on over here.
No, I concur. I think the difference that, at least for me, right? I don't mind an hour long podcast if it's, I don't want to say mindless, but like you can play in the background. It doesn't require a lot of brain power to consume that podcast, right? Like if you listen to, I'm not saying that this podcast is dumb, okay? I'm just saying, like, okay, compare it to, like, I don't know, Philosophize This, or like what's that history podcast?
Oh, Hardcore History.
Yes,
Dan
correct.
Carlin.
Dan Carlin, that those you need to pay him a bit more attention, right? If you want to get the finer details, and if you listen to that podcast, you want those finer details. But in our podcast, it's mostly opinion, it's mostly banter, I would say. So I think it's much more easier to it's way easier to consume, even though if it's an hour long. So that's my opinion on the matter, at least.
Yep. I wanted to say, first off, huge props to Morgan for editing a 2 hour long episode down into an hour long episode. So huge props to Morgan for that. And I will admit that when I listened to the episode, I also thoroughly enjoyed it. I guess for me as well, because there was a good amount of time in between the recording and in between listening to it again at the end. So I kind of forgot what we talked about in a way. So when I listened to the episode again, it was actually really fun. And I even recall, cycling around Amsterdam and listening to the podcast and actually laughing at some of the stuff that was happening. So it was good.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
The picture of Adam laughing randomly while he's cycling, right? While listening to his own voice.
Swerving, and enter into the canal. Oh no.
So what I wanted to discuss today was the idea that in life, your brain can either be doing one of two things. It's either content consumption or content creation. And think of it like this. The brain is like a plant, When you forget to water a plant, it wilts. And for me, when my brain doesn't create content, it wilts as well. And when I think back about some sort of unhappy phases in my life before, it usually has something to do with the fact that I wasn't creating enough content during that phase in my life. I was only consuming content.
So when you talk about creating content, right? Like, do you have an example of what sort of content? Do you mean like creating YouTube videos is content?
Yep. Exactly.
Creating music is content. Writing articles is content.
Are you reading my script, Morgan?
No, man.
Because this is exactly the three things that I wrote down, actually. So yeah, the difference between the two would be that content consumption is scrolling to TikToks, watching YouTube videos, listening to music, reading the news, while content creation would be creating YouTube videos or writing news articles or like Medium articles like what Jason and you do, or uploading songs, for example. And I think because it triggers different parts of the brain, you know. I'm sure you guys feel that way too, right? When you're trying to write a Medium article, it's not about it. Just the mental process of it is extremely different than consuming content.
I see. All right.
I would agree with that. I mean, personally, I would consider myself more a consumer than I am a creator. I think the only time I'm happy with creation is when I was doing games development back in school, right? But I find the joy in and I've had this discussion with my partner before. If I could do anything in life, right? Like, yeah, if money wasn't an issue, right? What would I do? What would I then work, etc.? And I said that I would probably want to do whatever I want and consume whatever I want. So if I wanted to say, pick up
Game development.
well, no, I was thinking more like philosophy or something. Like I want to read up on like Aristotle or something. I could just spend the entire day reading up without any fear of like, oh man, but if I do this now, tomorrow I need to catch up with work, etc., etc. So as a person, I would say I'm that kind of a person. I would very much rather just consume.
So would you say that your ideal way of life, it's how CGP Grey is living his life right now?
I don't know CGP Grey that well.
It's like he's how to say whenever he likes a topic or a topic interests him, he will spend half a year, just to work on that.
Oh, then yes, yeah. I guess like okay, it's gonna sound pretentious, lah, but it's basically I guess like the idea of the Renaissance man, right? Like Da Vinci or something like. When they get engrossed on a subject, they just go sometimes months or years diving into the subject. Then they come up like, yeah, no, I have opinions on the matter now. Yes, that's the life I would like, but unfortunately, life isn't as simple as that. So yeah,
I would love a life like CGP Grey Morgan, especially when I watched his most recent video about his journey through Tiffany. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Have you seen that one, Jason?
It's
no, I'm not. Like I say, I'm not a huge CGP Grey. I don't follow the channel. I know of him. I've watched some of his videos, but yeah.
Long story short, he posted a 20-minute video about his journey into researching the name Tiffany, and it chronicles his journeys from, like, I think he
From
spent half a
poems.
year. Yeah, he was checking out a poem and basically was trying to find the source of the poem. And he spent half a year trying to figure out what the source of the poem was, only to find out that, well, okay, no spoilers, I guess. But yeah, he spent half a year researching a poem. And I love his analogy of calling it being lost in the forest of all knowledge, because he's really deep down in the weeds and he's doing the work that how should I explain this? Like, he doesn't just take the information at face value. He's really taking the effort to research whether is this actually correct, who said this, where's the source, where is the original information coming from. And what he's been finding out, I think this is a theme in his last 5 or 6 videos, is that he's been finding out that things that people think are true are not necessarily true if you really spend the time to sit down and research it. It just kind of, to me, it's like, now it's like the idea that a lot of things nowadays, I mean, who knows what is true and what's not, yeah? A lot of our assumptions nowadays are based on other assumptions from the past. And I think if you really spend the time and effort to look into a lot of things in life, you'll find out that a lot of things are not necessarily true. But yeah, I would enjoy a life like that. Just drilling down into a topic and, being able to produce something out of it as well. I think it's really nice. And being able to come out of it with the knowledge that, yep, I know about this topic and I can consider myself quite well informed about the topic, and being able to have a career out of that, I think that's really nice.
Can I say that Adam today is a very different Adam? It's a very philosophy Adam we have here today.
No, and I vibe with that, like, because I've recently, no, I say recent, probably about a month ago, but I listened to the Philosophize This podcast, right? And one of the episodes I was listening to was regarding Adam Smith. Sorry, not Adam Smith. David Hume. He's an okay, I don't want to say English philosopher, but he's a philosopher from the English subcontinent, I guess. But yeah. Anyways, the whole idea is that one of his philosophy, one of the things they talk about is how we take things for granted, things that our knowledge we think we know, but in reality, if you actually dive into like, hey, this a lot of our assumptions, a lot of our life assumptions, our heuristic way of thinking is actually not true, you know. And that's where biases, that's where stereotypes and stuff all comes from, right? So that is what I like about. I guess that's how you ask me when if my ideal life is like CGP grade, then yes, because I would like to learn the truth of the matter. If I had the time, I really want to dive in and learn what is the truth, to seek the truth, even though there is no truth to it, but the journey is what matters, right? So I would really like that.
There is no truth.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess that depends. But even if there is no truth, right? I guess it doesn't matter. But like you have to always question yourself. You have to always test your own understanding of the world, even if it means shattering your world understanding. Deep hashtag deep.
Hashtag deep, yeah. We're going deep in today's podcast, aren't we? I mean, but that's good, you know. Yeah. I mean, you were talking shit about this podcast just now, Jason, saying how this is a mindless podcast that you can just put on the background, right?
Today's episode probably drop. There will probably be a drop in viewership, lah. But yes.
So what I wanted to deliver was the idea that I think a healthy balance between the two is the most effective way to live life. You need a good balance between content creation and a good balance between content consumption. Currently, I feel like I'm in a very high consumption phase in my life, and I'm not the happiest about it. And it's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing this podcast with Morgan, is to, do a bit more content creation. When my brain is creating content, it feels energized, it feels activated. And there are many, many ways that they can get this buzz. But I don't know, do you guys feel the same way when you're creating content? Or
Let's take a step back, right? Actually, what's wrong with just having a fully consumption attitude towards life?
what's wrong with a fully... there's nothing wrong about it. It depends on how you want to live your life, of course.
No, it's like how to say, like, for example, for Jason, right? Like three of us are how to say, we play games and enjoy games, right? Like, but we never thought about building video games by ourselves, right? Like that's I imagine that's not something we want to delve into.
So
I enjoy playing games, but building games is a totally different story, right? What do you say, Jason?
Well, obviously the objectively the two is very different. But I have to agree with Adam in the sense that it really depends on what you want out of life, right? I am perfectly fine playing video games. Okay, put it this way. So I was a game development. I was in games development, right, as a student. And I pivoted to app development because one of the reason was because the culture surrounding game development is very very bad.
You can make a change, right?
Yeah.
be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yeah, sure. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
boy.
Cool. I'm
Hashtag deep.
unlike you guys, I'm not delusional. So but the other reason why I did not pursue games development was because I found that the deeper I got into games development, the less I enjoyed playing games. And so Adam, you talked about the balance between consumption and creation, but I guess okay. So it differs from person to person, right? But at least for me, that line between consumption and creation got blurred. I did not know when I was playing games. I was like, they could have designed this level a bit better. They didn't program this particular level really well. There's so many clipping issues. There is linearity issues here and there. I was over analyzing the game that I was supposed to be playing. Right, it's supposed to be leisure, but it wasn't leisure. My brain was actively thinking, breaking down the game. Right, for the longest time, I and even now, I still feel the after effects of it now, but not so much. Right, but for the longest time, I was just demotivated to play games. And Adam knew me from uni. Right, I played a lot of games. Right, as I got into my year in games development, I became demotivated to play any game because all I could think about was just creation. Work.
Because game has become your life.
Yeah.
Like it becomes work.
Yeah. And it's not exactly. I didn't particularly hate it. Like it wasn't tormenting me, but like it's just sad. That I can't draw a line between the two. I'm sure there are others that face the same problem that I have and have found a way to fix it. And I didn't actively seek out a solution to this problem. But to me, I'm like, games development is not that important to me. At the end of the day, creating something is what I really want in terms of a career profession. So apps fill that gap well enough.
Speaking of career and so let's stick to video games first, and then we can talk about career afterwards, because I do actually want to talk about these two subtopics within this bigger topic. But for games, right? For me, what I notice is that when I look at the games that I have spent the most time playing, I tend to go for content consumption. Sorry, I tend to go for content creation kind of games within. Yeah, the video game world. So like,
wait. What do you mean by content consumption games?
No, content creation games. Yeah, exactly. Same mistake. Yeah. So okay, playing video games to me is 100% content consumption. However, there's some games which provide some form of content creation. So games that are shortlisted, for example, I grew up playing SimCity. Yeah, it's a city building game that I'm creating a world every time I play SimCity, and that is enough to trigger that part of my brain. Other games would be The Sims, Civilization, Euro Truck Simulator, for example.
Okay, I was wondering,
okay,
like
Euro Truck
go on.
Simulator.
I have so much. Okay, go on, Adam. Go on.
So okay, yeah, the last one is a bit weird. I understand, but okay, listen.
Yes,
listen. Hear me out
yes,
first. Okay,
yes, yes.
in Euro Truck Simulator, okay, in case you guys haven't played it yet, Euro Truck Simulator is a game where you drive trucks around, and you just make deliveries from point A to point B. Now, this in itself is very fun, and it's a very legitimate game. However, in Euro Truck Simulator, you can also have a business. You can have a company. You need to make enough deliveries to make enough money. Then you can get a bank loan. You can buy new garages. You can hire additional staff, blah, blah, blah. And to me, I really enjoyed this content creation part of the game a lot. I enjoyed the fact that I was like building a company, it's like, ooh, I can hire more people. Ooh, I can expand my network and stuff like that. Until I found out that you could cheat the system by, you can travel around to different, you can teleport to different garages in Euro Truck Simulator 2, and time progresses when you just teleport across garages, right?
I see.
And
okay,
what I realized was that you could just teleport from point A to point B, back to point A, back to point B, and your company would actually make enough money to survive on its own without me having to do anything at all. Because my drivers would make enough money, and I would have enough money to pay off the loans, and basically this killed the game for me. I basically stopped playing the game after I found out this. It no longer became as fun. Then it just became just driving around aimlessly. Then it wasn't so fun.
It's called self-control, Adam.
What does this have to do with self-control?
No, I mean, like, you're like, man, like, oh, I found this cheat and I just have to keep using it.
I disagree with you on the topic of self-control in using cheats, I guess, in video games. In this particular case, Adam's Euro Truck Simulator, teleportation cheat, right?
Yeah.
Because when players have a god mode way of solving an obstacle in a game, they will always fall back to that method one way or the other, because at the end of the day, they're trying to get past an obstacle, right? And they could do it the long normal route, but unless there are some masochistic, there are somebody who's a masochist and like it's fine with them wasting their time, they would always go for the route that would maximize profit. Essentially, it's very well discussed already. It's like, okay, take Street Fighter. You play Hades, right? Yeah. So I'm sure you fall back to. Let's not even talk about you. Just in general, there are metas and strategies builds that are just generally favored other compared to the rest, right?
Yeah. It how to say, it helps, but it's not like, oh, you know this and it's gonna be like a what do you call it, a deal breaker. Or is it the deal breaker? It's like it's not like it's a strategy, but it's not like a god mode that you can just go through
Correct.
in the breeze.
Correct. But still, there is there are optimum way of playing the game, right? And while you're playing it, you discover it as well. So in the case of Street Fighter, right, there's like a bajillion. Okay, not maybe not bajillion, but like there's a lot of combinations for like combos and stuff, right? But you see, memes of people just smashing the X button or the square button or whatever, a single button just to cheese the game, right? Yeah, essentially just to overwhelm the game system, right? Finding a specific spot and just punching the opponent until they're just basically stuck, right?
Yep.
So there's a reason why these things happen. People do these because it's the easiest way to get what they want.
Oh man, this podcast gonna go into a games topic very soon. Another example I can think about is when you guys play SimCity, right? Do you guys play without cheat?
Unless I want to, mess about the world. But yes, I usually play without cheats.
I see. I'm
When
the
I play
one
The
that
Sims, I play without cheats. Yeah.
I see. I'm the one person that I would have the money hack. Just take my time and build the city.
Okay,
Although,
our end goal is different. You see, for I guess I don't know about you, Adam, but I guess like for me, I want to see it grow. I want to see the city. I want to face the challenges and see the city grow. I want to grow the city by myself instead of being meticulous, perfect, optimized.
Yep. I think taking a step back, a good way how I usually frame it in my mind is that, for example, in Euro Truck Simulator, there was a problem to solve. And after I found a way to solve the problem, it no longer became engaging, mentally engaging. So I guess when you play SimCity, you can have two mindsets here. You can I just want to have a city completed, or I want to try and solve the problem of creating a city.
I see.
And mind you, what you mentioned is a cheat, right? It's not a like the case of Adam's Euro Truck Simulator. It's not a cheat. It's an exploit. It's different because cheat is there are very different optics to it because
But I wouldn't call it a cheat anyway, Jason. I would call it two different modes. Either you're in sandbox mode where you're just let's put everything in the city and done. I have a complete city, or like quest mode in a way, or or challenge mode.
Yeah, but in the case of Morgan, right, he mentioned the money cheat, right? You get a huge capital and then you can problems that would otherwise require creative thinking where you can just brute force, but just throw more energy generation districts, etc., right?
But if SimCity had a sandbox option, I think, Morgan, you would just play the sandbox option and you wouldn't go through cheats, right?
Yeah, because the way I play SimCity is just want to build nice cities, I would say. The challenges and all that, it's like it's not something that I enjoy, but
No, that's perfectly fine. But you see, I'm trying to highlight the difference between a cheat and an exploit. In the case of Euro Truck Simulator, it's part of the game. Either the developers forget about it or they thought it'd be funny, whatever. But it is part of the core mechanics and it's exploitable.
All right.
You can't. But whereas in SimCity, you have to actually type in. I actually can't remember how to hack in SimCity. I guess you type in a console command or something.
Yeah.
So
console command.
Correct. So it is a proactive action for you to cheat in SimCity, right? You have to manually type in, or give me the money or whatever, right? Whereas right. Whereas in Euro Truck Simulator, the option to get rid of exploit is not there because it's part of the core mechanics, and players will fall back to that core mechanic. And to some players who that just to some players this is fun, but to players like Adam, it's like, you know what? No, this kills. Just kill it for me. So yeah.
Yep.
Adam, may I ask that is this the reason why you never get hooked on by Flight Simulator? Because it doesn't have this quest economics into it. Because it's weird that you're fascinated by I won't say fascinated. You're obsessed with planes.
Fascination. I'm not obsessed. Come on.
Wow, planes.
Wow. I thought it was trying to say a nicer thing. It turns out it's trying to diss me even more. But yeah.
You're obsessed about trains. Obsessed about planes. But the game that you talked about the most, it's Euro Truck Simulator instead of Microsoft Flight Simulator.
It's funny you mentioned train just now too, because I do have an interest in trains.
Is it also Euro Train Simulator?
I like trains, I like planes, I like buses. This is like I don't know what the topic is here. I don't know why I like these things, but I just in general I like transportation systems.
I
like
get you, Adam. I get you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we are going on a tangent here, but like, do you know a YouTube channel called Mustard?
Oh yeah, Mustard. Oh my god, they do this amazing,
Amazing
like 3D
3D
renderings.
renders.
And talk about all these planes and stuff. Oh my god, I
Yeah,
love Mustard.
yeah. I know, I guess real engineering as well, but whenever real engineering get to the actual math of it, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. I'm too monkey
Yeah.
brain to appreciate this. But yeah. Give me the TLDR. But yes. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but yes. Planes and
No, but
transportation.
I want to know as well. But why do you enjoy Mustard?
I have.
Wait a minute, you haven't answered my question, man.
Okay, you answer.
What the hell?
You answer Morgan's question, then I'll answer yours, Adam.
Okay, So when you talk about flight simulator, I sort of relate it to racing simulation games. Yeah, there is no content. So for example, F1, yeah, for example, I don't necessarily play the F1 game, but if I were to play the F1 game, I would play the career mode where I'm actually sort of building a career. I don't think I would necessarily enjoy just playing normal races. I would want there to be a bit more substance to it. Therefore, if Flight Simulator had some sort of pilot mode where you start off at a smaller airline and you had to quote unquote deliver passengers here and there, maybe I might enjoy it a bit more. But yeah, or maybe if I'm going to a phase in life where I don't want to do any content creation, I just want to consume a video game, then yeah, I could see myself playing a Flight Simulator.
But have you tried Flight Simulator?
I've not actually tried Flight
Hey,
Simulator.
come on, man. Come on.
Well, to be fair, in Adam's defense, he has tried War Thunder.
It's different. It's different. What's War Thunder? It's like a.
Okay. You don't even know War Thunder. It's different. What?
No, no. Okay, sorry. It sounds like a war.
Don't judge a book by its cover,
like
Morgan.
it sounds like a warplane simulator or something.
I was David Hume, man. Don't check your biases, Morgan. Check your biases. But yes, it is arcade warplane simulator MMO, not MMO, MMO. Okay, you know World of Tanks?
Oh shit! Oh, that sort of game, huh?
Yeah, but it's planes. But okay, so there is an arcade mode, but there is an actual what's it called? Simulation mode, realistic mode, where you have to actually control the rudders, the ailerons manually, and it's not fly by wire. Everything is manual. Everything is hydraulic. So yeah, it's very difficult.
I see. All right. Because the way I see Microsoft Flight Simulator is that they try to be as realistic as possible. So you can actually fly like actual production planes in the game, and even helicopters and stuff like that. That's why when you talk about warplanes, I was like, is it like, I don't know, a Spitfire exact simulator?
Oh, okay. Not a Spitfire exact simulator. It's you're fighting against. It's like, imagine COD but planes, I guess. It's a good way of putting it. Call of Duty but planes. But like I say, there is a realistic. And me and Adam, we used to play War Thunder together in our back in uni, right, Adam? So yeah,
You got me to try War Thunder, and I played about 2 weeks of War Thunder, I think. But it was really fun.
Yeah, no, I think longer than that. It feels. Anyways, but yeah, we played together for a bit, yeah.
But I think, when you're playing video games with friends, it's always fun.
Correct. It's always fun. But yeah, like so like Flight Simulator is not your cup of tea, huh, Adam? I just
haven't tried, actually. No, I haven't tried. So I'm not like Morgan. I'm not going to assume biases.
But between just you and me, Jason, right? It's a sort of game that he should be into, right?
It depends because he should by virtue of the fact he's into Euro Truck Simulator, and he's fine driving from Germany to, I don't know, UK in the game time. I was like, what? But yeah, so I think he should be fine with this Microsoft Flight Simulator. But
yeah.
But I think the bigger hook for Adam is this whole creation thing that even I have the same taste in games with Adam in this particular respect. So yeah.
Yeah. You're probably even more crazy than me, right? Because I know you play Factorio, and I know from CGP Grey that Factorio is a game that I would really probably
you
enjoy.
would get addicted. And I'm
Yeah.
okay, put it this way. I bought the game 3 weeks ago. I've already spent close to 100 hours to it. More almost as much hours as I have on Civilization 6, which I've owned for like
Wow.
4 hours 4 years now, 4 or 5 years, So
Wow.
yeah. I spent last night. I got back home at 9 after dining out, and I spent from 9 to like 1 a.m. just optimizing the resource flow of my base. So yes, I'm very addicted to this kinds of game. And you can look at my Steam library. I have I have all games pertaining to Sim City slash Civilization, Endless Space, even Colony, Surviving
Terraria?
Mars.
Terraria.
Terraria has nothing to do with that.
Terraria.
Terraria is more Minecrafty, it's different. It's different.
But no, Minecraft also has content creation, yeah, because you're gathering resources, you're building stuff.
Correct. But it's how do I put it? It's you can definitely but that's not the main gameplay loop of it. But games like Factorio, the whole gameplay loop, the feedback loop of Factorio is automation. It's all about automation. It's all about building. But in Minecraft, you could get by the game without really automating much, automating at all. You can just craft things instantaneously. It's more exploratory than it is building, I guess. And by building, I don't really care about building the Statue of Liberty, exact replica of Statue of Liberty in Minecraft. That doesn't excite me. That's just to me, it's impressive, but it's a waste of time. It's like, okay, so what, but to me, discovering the game, finding out, oh, you can do that, these things make me interested in the game. And Factorio has a lot of that. So Adam, to answer your question earlier about mustard, I have a fascination with since I was a child, I have a fascination with warplanes. Spitfire, that was the plane that got me into warplanes, because I remember looking at the Spitfire. I think it was I can't remember which variation, but the Supermarine Spitfire, and I was like, yes, this is beautiful. Even as a child, I remember like, this is beautiful, and I have been into planes since then. So yeah, especially the evolution of planes, how it evolved from a biplane, and then because of material sciences back then wasn't strong enough, so they couldn't go with a mono wing design. Then eventually, when it reached to like the 20s, 30s, then that's when the planes that we know of start to take shape, right? Just a single wing, instead of double wings, and as engine technology got better, so did the placement of the engines, and eventually jet took over, etc., etc. And yeah, these things, I'm a sucker for these things, and Mustard does that very, very well. History with engineering, yes, please.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Mustard is very good at delivering this sort of content.
And the 3D
That channel
rendering
is
is
amazing.
insane, dude. The 3D rendering is
Yeah.
insane.
Wow, now
It's truly one of a kind.
Now I can see why you guys are best friends. Obsessed with friends, obsessed with planes.
Obsessed with planes.
It's actually funny because I sort of didn't know that you were so into planes, Jason.
Probably not as I would say not as academic as you are. Mine is like, I look at planes like, this is a very beautiful plane, and then I look. Concorde is a marvel of engineering, but it looks ugly as it looks so bad. Like the nose is like, tak boleh jalan lah, bro. At least that's my personal opinion. So like, I have a very romantic worldview of planes and well engineered things. It doesn't just stop with transportation. You can ask my partner, you can ask anybody. I'm fixated with stationaries as well. I have like, I think 8 or 10 mechanical pencils that I bought from Japan, because there's one that rotates the lead every time you lift off and put the pencil back on, because when you write, you don't write in a continuous stream for the most part. You pick it up and then you put it back off, and every time you pick it up and put it back down, the LED rotates so that the LED doesn't wear out only on one side. It wears out evenly on all sides. So that is a marvel of engineering. I was like, whoa, this is insane, you know? And the mechanism is stupidly simple. It's like, it's crazy. Fountain pens as well. I love the mechanism of it, you know. So yeah,
Wait,
I'm some engineering.
the Japanese mechanical pencil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever use it, or it's
Yes.
safely stored in somewhere
I'm not a
in minted condition?
no. I do use them. I'm not like a I would say snobby.
Collector.
I'm not like a collector. Yes, I actually use them.
I
Yes,
see.
I
Alright.
actually use them because to me, well-engineered items are meant to be used.
Why you never shown us when we were at your place? This would blew my mind, man.
I don't know actually. I always show the pencils whenever I play D&D because it's part of my stationery kit, and you know D&D, you
Alright.
know, Dungeons and Dragons. Like, oh, okay. So I was like, oh yeah, this pencil I got in Japan, blah blah. But also, if it's a new group of friends, I'm not just gonna bust it out. I'm like, hey, by the way, look at my cool mechanical pencil in Japan. It's like lame lah, you know. Not everybody appreciates it.
Yeah, I guess Morgan, you've probably seen it, but just Jason probably just didn't. There was no need to point out that this was like a cool pen or pencil. Yeah.
Well, he keeps pointing out his fishing rod.
Oh god, I don't know.
I don't know what you guys grew up. I don't know what you guys do when you meet up, but yeah. Sure.
No, it's a Nintendo Switch fishing rod. Like I was telling them like, dude, you can fish with this, man, on the Nintendo Switch. It's so cool. You know? Oh man, but yeah, putting that aside.
Jason keeps on talking about his fishing rod.
Yeah, man.
This kid can take on so much weight. It can reel in the big fishes, you know. Oh god. Probably have to censor the entire thing. But yeah.
Where were we?
We were in a huge tangent. But yeah,
Tangent.
yeah.
Before we move on, right, I have a question for Jason. So, do you play Flight Simulator?
I did, and even as a
Good question.
child, okay, I played. I wouldn't say a lot of Flight Simulator, but as a child, you know, I mean, you know, right? In Malaysia, we have lots of pirated products, and I would, you know,
Yeah.
I'll look at cool plane photos in like, you know, well, I was in Penang lah, so you know, it's in where was it? Komtar, right? So it's a Komtar. So I'll look at all these cool graphics of planes, and I'll just buy the game and install it on my PC. And I've played quite a lot of flight simulators. Nothing too serious. I didn't get serious into it because I was a child. But yes, I played flight simulators. Yes, not the latest Microsoft flight simulator because that is expensive. But yeah.
Well, I think Comta still selling pirated CDs, right?
Well, I cannot comment. No lah. They have moved their operations mostly to Prangin Mall, the mall next to Komta. They call it the hipper Komta, but it's just as janky as Komta is. It's basically you know Sungai Wang, right? You guys know Sungai Wang Plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine Sungai Wang but more rundown. Yeah, that's Prangin Mall. So
What isn't that Comtar?
Prangin, okay, so Komta is more rundown than Prangin Mall. So yeah, that's if it's a scale, right? You know, if Sungai Wang is at a 10, Prangin Mall is a 5, and Komta is a 0. So yeah, that's the that's the numbers we're dealing with here. So, but yeah, I have played Microsoft Flight Simulator. Not my cup of tea, to be perfect. I think it's not my cup of tea because it's too. There is a term for this in video games development.
Technical?
There's not enough abstraction from real world. And then some people love that. Some people love the one-to-one experience. But to me, I don't want to fuss about too much about it. To me, what is perfect, like the perfect blend of abstraction would probably be like, you know, well, the realistic mode of War Thunder, or have you guys played Eve online before? Adam knows I play a lot of Eve online, so yeah. Yeah.
I know about it, but I haven't played before.
Yeah, so that's my idea of what is
Alright.
balanced in terms of abstraction from reality. So yeah.
Did I get you started on Eve, Jason? I remember telling one of my friends, hey, can you start playing Eve for about a week or two and then let me know if it's good, then I'll join.
I
And I never did.
I don't know, maybe, but it's the
Okay.
worst slash best thing you've done to me lah. So I'm trying to look at my Steam now. I think I spent like a good 300 hours on Eve. I had a guild that was sorry, a corporation that was building business and everything. We lost like $4,000 of in a war before. No, sorry, no, not 4,000, not that much, like $1,000, which is still quite a lot.
Wow.
Alright.
Yeah, but it sounds like there's a lot of content creation possible in that
Oh,
game. I might enjoy it.
yeah, 330 hours on EVE Online. Yep. Yeah, you're talking about spreadsheet, you're talking about like EVE has all of that. EVE has very literally all of that.
Do you
So,
do you enjoy Eve Online, Adam? You played before, right?
No, I haven't played it. I don't know. I think it was Jason, but I remember telling one of my friends, hey, can you try this out first? And if it's all good, then let me know. Then I'll join you. But I never joined them. So I wanted to continue on the topic of content creation and content consumption. I think you mentioned career just now, Jason, and this is also fairly relevant to me right now. The idea that in Euro Truck Simulator, I had a problem to solve, and I solved the problem, and it no longer became engaging for me. I think right now in my career, I'm sort of at a similar phase where I've been an engineer now for 7 years. I think when I do development work nowadays, it's no longer about creating solutions to problems. For me right now, I actually feel like I'm just consuming content. I feel like I'm just consuming an API, consuming this solution, consuming this, consuming that, and just throwing it all together into something. And I no longer find joy out of it because I'm no longer creating content. This is not activating the content creation part of my brain anymore. This is only activating the content consumption part of my brain. And when I spend 8 hours a day just consuming content, it ruins the balance that I want in my life. And I don't know whether you guys feel this way. We've all been developing for almost the same amount of time. Do you still find that you are creating like solutions to problems?
No. I think I'm on the same track as you are. Probably not as far down, but I am on the same track as you are. I no longer find joy in take for example when we were first working, right? The first year when you're learning, like you can do this, how you do a recycler view, this is how you do infinite views, etc., etc. This is how you do whatever. That those kind of things no longer. I don't really care about it anymore. To be more precise about it. It's more about the bigger picture, how do we solve the bigger picture? The actual implementation details, I don't really care about it anymore.
Well, I'm actually the exact opposite of you, Jason. I don't know. Small details like that somehow finds it interesting, and it's always nice to encapsulate and put it in the Medium article where you explain about it. It's kind of, I don't know, rewarding in a sense. Sometimes I wouldn't say recycler view or infinite scrolling. It's an example. Sometimes, like for example, when you're dealing with contact books on your phone, like it's a very niche thing. You always find stuff like this that you thought you knew, but you didn't. And how I deal with engineering problems, like when I put in my Medium articles, are the small little problems that I found. Like for example, how do you deal with contacts? How do you deal with a custom drop down list view and stuff like that? Does that feel like consumption in work? I don't think so.
No, that's actually content creation. The fact that you are writing these Medium articles explaining a topic to people, that is the content creation part of it. But what about the actual development work itself, Morgan? When I give you a ticket, for example, and I tell you, hey, implement this feature, do you actually feel like you are still you're creating a solution? Do you still feel that way?
I still feel like every 2 years, there's like, oh, there's a better way of writing this. Although it's the same thing that have been working for the past like forever, but you always find new things to do. Like when you change between companies, you have different you're exposing with different people, different style of coding, and sometimes
Yep.
that doesn't make sense at all, and sometimes like actually that's pretty neat, man.
Oh, okay, so I don't want to make like our careers so like binary, but I do see that this is like kind of two different paths that people generally go towards when they start off as a developer. You can either go like deeper down into the weeds and figure out better ways to do things in terms of the actual code or the actual implementation of a feature, or you can go the other direction and spend less time coding and instead concentrate a bit more on optimizing like workflows across an organization and kind of stepping away from code instead. And it seems like we are definitely going on different directions.
Correct. I'm more on like what Adam mentioned, like optimizing workflow and stuff. So okay, like that feeling you get, Morgan, that oh hey that's interesting. I get that feeling when I do stuff like for example like my recent shameless plug, but like my recent article on linting. That one that interests me because like oh this is very interesting. Optimizing problems, optimizing problem solving. That interests me, but like probably what Adam is talking about, like take the example of being given a ticket. Yeah, I absolutely do not feel like I'm creating anything when I'm writing a new feature or whatever. I absolutely do not feel like I'm creating. I feel like I'm just a plumber taking pipes and just placing it replacing pipes. That's about it.
Is it because both of you guys are working in a product company, hence you have a lot of legacy code to maintain, hence you have this constraint, I would say?
Not necessarily. I don't know about your company right now, Adam, but my company, we are. I get this even when we are doing new features, like completely new modules. And mind you, we don't just copy paste code. We try to iterate and improve existing architecture on every single new module. Like, hey, let's do this differently. Let's do that differently. And I still don't feel much satisfaction from it. It's just okay, just a slightly better way of doing things. Then what?
Exactly the same. I feel exactly the same as Jason. And we also do the same when we work on new feature. We look at the architecture and we try and see, hey, can we update this to what we think is like the best way to do this now? But yeah, there's still no enjoyment out of it. Going back to like Euro Truck Simulator, for me, when I found out that export in Euro Truck Simulator, I was no longer engaged. Yeah, I feel like in my career right now, engineering it's sort of a problem I've solved, and I know that's like a great. I don't want to. I'm not like a super smart engineer that can develop any feature. There's still a lot of things I can't do. I admit that. Still a lot of shit I don't know. I admit that. But concept of just hey, I need to do a feature and I need you to implement it. I can do that. I've solved that problem. The question of how I solve it. So I'm exactly the same as Jason. When we work on a new feature at my current company as well, we look at the code base, we try and decide whether there's a better way to do it, and we will try and update it into into our most recent understanding of what is the best way to do it. But I still think like when you give me a ticket and you ask me to implement a feature, I think there's no longer like a cool problem to solve here. I feel like this is a thing I've done before. I've done it for many, many years, and it just doesn't provide me the challenge anymore that I'm looking for. There's no hook anymore, so to speak. It's just like, okay, I'm just gonna write the code and it's gonna be done.
It becomes like house chore if you think about it.
Routine. It's almost routine.
Yeah, it's quite a routine. And I know, like you said, Morgan, I can spend a lot of time trying to figure out, what is the best way to do this? Or like, what is the new technology that people are using to implement this? But I still think I've done that before as well many times. And, technology changes, frameworks change. We come up with new ideas of how to do things. But it's still the same thing over and over again. And I think I'm no longer interested in being on that journey of going through that loop of like, is there a better way to do this? Is there a better way to do this? It no longer interests me because it feels like a problem that I've solved.
All right.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
It's I think it's very important to reiterate. It's not as if we are claiming, we know how to solve every single engineering problem there is out there. No, quite the contrary. It's like there are many things I don't know. Like if you ask me to migrate our DB to using Room, the Room API, I probably wouldn't know how to do it offhand, but I have enough knowledge and experience that I'm like, okay, usually SQL based libraries are written in more or less the same kind of way. Like there is very it won't be so drastically different. So I really know how to find the answers, and I know the pitfalls in finding the answers. So it becomes I wouldn't say this is not an exploit, but it is no longer a novel problem to solve. You see, it's just grind. It's just the grind.
There are two other things that I do that can activate the content creation part of my brain. One is writing. Way back in high school, I had a blog that I used to update. And like throughout my childhood, I really updated this blog quite a bit. And I remember, like, the funny thing about this blog was that I would always write it in third person. It's a bit cheesy now when I think about it, but it really was fun to write a blog in third person. And
Is the blog still there?
I enjoy it. No, I deleted it years ago.
Yeah.
It's now gone from the internet forever. But I was a small kid in a town that was in the middle of nowhere, and I still had a fairly good amount of followers, 60, 70 people, I think. And I'm still in touch with some of the people that I met through the blogging world. But I just remember writing blogs in high school, and that activated a big part of my brain in terms of creating content. And I guess by extension, that's why I did previously enjoy writing medium articles on tech topics. And I guess right now I still enjoy writing because I did write a script sort of for this topic. And I just want to activate that part of my brain again, writing.
So speaking of old things, right? Do you guys know that I used to be a YouTuber?
What?
Bum, bum, bum. What?
What?
I wouldn't say your typical conventional YouTuber. It's more like I post content on YouTube, make small short films, music videos, collaboration with
What?
friends. And whenever I go to a trip or something, I will cut it to make small videos and post it on YouTube.
I remember you showed me one of your videos, Morgan. Yeah. So just to be clear, when you say YouTuber, you don't mean like you're going around doing vlogs like, hey
Yeah.
guys, what's up?
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah,
kind, yeah.
it's sort of like making short films with friends in uni and going on trips, especially the one that we went to Genting to shoot a Slender Man horror-like movie.
What?
And yeah, it's all on YouTube. It's still there.
That's mind blowing.
So yeah, I'm
Just like the last episode. Boom.
Shouldn't be
Big mind
Rojak.
blown, right?
Rojak Tech Podcast. It should be the mind blowing. Like what? Like huh? Every episode is just. We should have a sound effect for that. Like. Good
But I mean,
God.
did you enjoy doing that, Morgan? Because I would assume that would activate a big part of the content creation, part of the brain as well.
I do enjoy the process. Like what you said about being a content creator kind of like energizes you. And in your own words, fertile, right? Like Morgan being fertile instead of passionate, like in Adam's words.
Your passion is throbbing.
But making short films makes me appreciate films even more, I would say.
You're definitely more of a film guy, right, Morgan? Because I think in the last episode you also mentioned that one of your Patreon babies is a channel that talks about films.
Yep.
Was it?
Accented cinema. So I know this was pre-show just now. Like Jason actually started a radio club, and back in the uni.
I
right?
did not. I did not start a radio club. It was already there for many years. I joined a radio club in university. It was an internet radio, which is kind of contradictory, internet radio. But yes, I was a broadcaster in my uni's radio club. Yeah.
Since you've been in broadcasting for quite a while, like do you find things differently? Like when you're listening to podcasts, when people making audio content, does it like I don't know, like do you feel differently since you are quite familiar with the part of the process and all that?
Yes. So the biggest difference is that was live. So we actually at the peak of our listenings, we would usually have about, I can't remember the stats anymore, I think like 500 to 1,000 people. We call that the prime time or hot time, whatever. It's usually 7, 8 p.m., when people are having their dinner in uni, and we even have worldwide listeners from like Russia and stuff based on the tracker. So
Wow.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but I was not part of the prime time slots. I was more on the late time slots, which is like 10, 11 p.m. So those are typically,
The one that you can talk about
s-
adult stuff, right?
yeah, or horror lah. In my case, it was horror lah. Horror and a little.
But it was a horror listening to you or what?
Wow, wow, bro, wow. uh, internet urban myths, and stuff like that, and that was
Wow.
for one semester. Then after that, it was like sort of like smooth jazz kind of vibes to it. So yeah, we switched things up. Every semester there was a new team and things about it. So yeah, the biggest difference is that it was live. So like I mentioned, if you cursed on air like our dear friend Adam here does, you would be fined 50 ringgit, and that was a lot of money for a university. It's still a lot of money now. And this vary from, well, the F word is definitely out. You can get by with a shit probably. So yeah. I was more on edge, put it that way, because on a podcast we know we can edit, and if it's not good, this episode just doesn't get aired, right? But whatever sit on live radio, yeah, you can't take that back.
I can think of one other way that I kind of create content on a daily basis, and that is by playing the guitar. I've been playing the guitar on and off since I was 13 years old, and I've almost always had a guitar with me throughout my whole life. Sitting in front of the computer with a guitar in my lap is something that is fairly common for me. It's a bit worse now.
I can attest to that, yes.
Yeah, and nowadays, now that sometimes when I work from home, yeah, the guitar was there a lot in front of the computer. Over the years, my style of play has evolved. I'm not in a band or anything like that. So I don't play live shows. When I pick up the guitar, I just mostly improvise. Sometimes I have this idea in my head about how to play something, and sometimes it turns out fairly nice. Nowadays, what I do is that when I get a really good jingle, like a short improvised tune, I'll just keep on playing it for days and days and days, or almost weeks, until the novelty fades away, and then I move on to something new, and then just keep on doing it over and over again. And more recently though, I've also started to record some of the videos of myself playing these jingles, just to immortalize them and to archive them for my own purposes as well, so that I can go back and watch them in the future.
Do you publish them on SoundCloud or something? Or do you plan to?
No, right now it's just Instagram stories.
Instagram story, it's deleted after a day, man. So how are you gonna go back and get back again?
Highlights
Yeah.
on my Instagram profile. But yeah, I've got one highlight where I put all of my guitar stuff there.
Right.
And when I was in lockdown in Malaysia, in the hotel, I also did 2 videos where I was playing stuff blindfolded on the guitar.
Oh, you brought your guitar along.
No, no, I did not actually. So that was actually Jason's guitar. Jason was an MVP in terms of, what's the word I'm looking for here?
I was magnanimous, let's put it that way, with my friendship. Although I did not know at the time how long my guitar would be gone.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. But yeah, I was using Jason's guitar to record the videos in the hotel. And yeah, this is another way that I sort of activate my brain every once in a while to create content. I'm sure you guys have something similar. Some other way where you sort of have smaller content creation outlets.
Morgan's one is pretty obvious. App development, this podcast. I think for mine, so funny enough, the only time, I would say joy, right? But the only spark I ever get from work or whatever anymore is when I share something to people and I teach something to people. That's the only time where I'm like, oh yeah, this is all right. Just a few days ago, one of my juniors asked me hey, I don't really understand what you meant by this. I'm like, okay, sure. Let me show you. You should refactor your code to this way. It's cleaner. It's much more readable. You are abstracting your code away from this view layer, etc., etc. And I showed him some, do you know you can do extensions for, instead of just methods, you can do it for values, for field variables and stuff like that. And he was like, whoa, no, that's so that's the only time I enjoy being an engineer anymore nowadays. So yeah.
This is funny, Jason, because I feel the exact same way. When I had a team, it was really nice to be able to show team members oh yeah, this is what I mean, and this is why it's better, and just teaching them things that they don't know. It's also kind of funny because not too long ago I interviewed for this position as a technical trainer for Swift at this company. But I didn't actually go through the entire interview process. It was just an introductory call with the recruiter. But the reason I was even interested in this role is because it kind of had two overlapping, like I had the technical knowledge of iOS and being a Swift developer. And I was thinking if I could combine this with teaching people, I'd be quite happy with that, I think. So I'm even exploring career options where like I could kind of take these two things together and like teach development for a living.
There are a lot of parallels between what you are saying, the whole interviewing to be a technical trainer, for other companies and stuff like that. It's because startup actually approached me like half a year ago, asking me like, hey, would you like to teach our students that are learning mobile development, computer science and mobile development. So why is it startup? It sounds like a university, but it is a university in a sense. It has a Ministry of Education, accreditation, all this kind of stuff, but it's very specialized, and the hook of it is that usually they have agreements with companies, like Microsoft, etc., to hire graduates from this program, essentially. In any case, so I was actually really tempted to give it a shot because for the longest time I've been playing with the idea of what if I went into like education, into teaching instead, not the traditional route, but something like this, something like
what our first company did, right?
yeah, as a like a technical trainer, something like that. Yeah, and there's another company I was interested in that teaches programming to kids, to like adolescents for like I think 7 to like 13. It's a nice feeling I get whenever I help or teach people. But who knows? Maybe this feeling will fade as well. So yeah.
My hesitations with going down that path is
Salary.
Thank you for saying it.
Probably the pay wouldn't be as much as what you would make as a software engineer. So yeah.
Yep, same. I know from my interview as well that the pay is lesser than what you get than just being a software engineer, and I guess for me as well, I didn't see like a career path from there. Like, sure, I can be a trainer,
senior trainer,
and then what?
principal
Senior
trainer,
and then what? Like
mega
head of training,
trainer.
and then what?
Then you'll be. Then you have your own Pokemon gym. Yeah, that's you'll be Elite Four. Yeah, you'll be part of Elite Four. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
But I mean, there are options here. I mean, it could eventually lead down a path where I have my own trading firm of some sort. Or I would just teach people, I would have my own training course to teach people how to do development work, for example. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something I'm playing around with because I do enjoy. I think I have a knack for taking a complicated idea and basically dumbing it down so that other people can understand it. I love getting people from not knowing to knowing, I love bringing them that like, oh, that's how it works. I love those moments. And I love delivering those moments to people. There's a lot of joy in there.
All right. So just now you talk about the issue of salary when you're going into teaching, training students, right? Like, have you considered maybe going solo? Like maybe designing your own course on Udemy or any teaching websites out there?
I haven't, but I know
Yes,
Jason has.
I did. I don't have a Udemy course or anything, but I've explored the idea of creating a Udemy course for Android development. And I have mixed feelings about this. But it's also, mind you, this is coming from, I think all of us have imposter syndrome, we are on the spectrum of imposter syndrome, right? So I do have that, and mine is like, if you go to Udemy and you search for Android development courses, there's like a bajillions of courses. It's insane. It's insane how much courses there are on regarding Android on Udemy, right?
All right.
So the question I ask myself then is, what can I give that it would add value to this already abundance of information and knowledge, right? Why would anybody click on my face and buy my course, even if it was, $5, right? So that was what I thought.
There's always an Android development using Compose UI.
Even then, okay, so it doesn't matter, right? Like, as we're talking about this now, somebody is already writing that course. I've already been beaten to the punch way earlier, right? So that was what I used to think. Right? What value can I add? Then I actually bought a course. I'm currently doing 2 courses on Udemy, one for Android development and one for Flutter. So I've not touched the Flutter one yet, but I'm currently going through the Android development one. It's good, don't get me wrong. The course is not bad. Like it's a good refresher. But like, I would say a good portion of the course, at least where I am now in the course, I already know, and I know better ways of doing it. right? Objectively better ways of doing it. And mind you, the course that I bought is quite highly rated. It's not the best selling course, but it has the stuff that I wanted to learn. Even then I said like, this guy has like 4 or 5 years of Android development experience, and while his content is quite good, it's quite good, but there are objectively better ways of doing some of the things he did. I guess basically the takeaway is that you'll be surprised at value you can add by yourself. Well, I say that, but I still don't see a point creating my own course because, again, I don't know what I could possibly provide that is better or different.
Optimistic way of looking at it is that it will look good in your resume, man.
Correct, but you must understand that the time taken, because if you want it
Yeah.
to be good, right, you need to write the content, you need to create the project itself. You have to actually code out the project, you have to record, you have to edit. All of this requires time.
Yeah.
Why do that when I can allocate that time to, I don't know, prepping to go to a better company? If really, a resume is topic of conversation here, right? Then there are better ways to improve your resume, in my opinion. Hell, writing 10 Medium articles would probably be better.
All right.
Jason, I hear a bit of a disconnect there because on one hand, you're saying objectively there are better ways to do something. When you look at a course and you go, yeah, that's not the best way to do it. But then shouldn't that drive you into, hey, I want to be the one to define what is the best way to do it? Why do you shy away from that instead?
Because, like I mentioned, it's quite a lot of effort, right? And even Udemy themselves, when you create the instructor account, they tell you upfront, this course is you want to teach Android development. This course is very saturated. They have a whole graph showing niche versus profitability sort of thing. And Android development is not niche at all. And it's very hard to make a profit because you need to be the absolute best of the best to make any form of profit, right? And they also tell you, usually how long does it take to come out of a course? It depends. If it's I can't remember. I think if it's a 20-hour course, expect to put in like double or triple the time to create the course. 60 hours, right? That is like almost 7-8 full days of continuous work, right? Which doesn't sound that bad in retrospect. But again, that time can be put elsewhere. I asked myself that question, like, is this worth it, or should I do something else? And I rather do something else.
Yep, that was actually the last kind of point that I wanted to make. But in general, what I just wanted to deliver today was, just the idea that our brains operate in two modes. Or at least my brain operates in two modes. It's always either content consumption or content creation. I think the best way to live your life is to have a good balance of both. And personally, for me right now, I do think I'm doing a lot more consumption than creation. I do think this applies to everything you do in life. I think everything you do in life can be categorized to either consumption or creation. I cannot think of anything that doesn't fall between the two.
I think it's uniquely human. But I do agree. One way or the other, we either create or consume. It's just that on which spectrum are we more inclined to, right?
And on which end do you, if you're, I guess it depends if you're happy with your life or not. Maybe this is something that could improve your quality of life right now. If you're feeling a bit down, feeling a bit, I don't know, demotivated. To anybody who's listening to this, let us know what you think. I would love to know your opinions on this, especially after all the strong opinions in the last episode. But I think I would value some thoughts on this if you have any.
All right. So that concludes our podcast episode. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Rojak Tag Pod with a POD. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.